My grandfather, he died of cancer in his early 60s. My grandmother would not let him go to the doctors and that because of Christian Science religion. And his cancer became so painful that he tried to hang himself in the basement. My father, his family was rich, and my mother's family was poor. And she ended up being the maid for his family. And she told me at one time or another, every one of the boys and the father all made passes at her. But she chose the oldest boy, my father, and they got married. So over the years, I met different people that would say, yeah, I went to the caves and gambled or something. I remember my grandfather, he would burn me with a cigar just for playing a trick on me. My father was killed when I was 19 months old, and he got killed in World War II. And my mother, she had went from rags to riches to rags, and she couldn't handle it. So she gave up her house and went to live with her mother. And I loved my grandmother, but she was a problem. She wasn't really real healthy mentally. So I lived with my grandmother till I was 7, and then my mother took me, and because she couldn't stand getting along with her mother. And so we lived in an apartment, my mother and me and my sister. All my mother said to me was, I'm working, I don't have time to watch out for you, so you're going to have to just make the right decisions or suffer the consequences. But once in a while, when we were little boys, say 10 years old, the beer truck, stop on the street to go to the store, we would steal a bottle from the beer truck. I would drink every day or every night. My mother would buy me beer. She would ask me what I want for supper, and I'd say 6 beers. Between 8 and 12 years old, I was friends with some little juvenile delinquents, and we would hitchhike downtown every day and steal from stores. And if we didn't get a ride right away, we'd watch for the cars light up on the street, and if there was a key in one, we'd take the car and drive it. And around that time, me and some kids got caught breaking into a house. We was at a restaurant. My mother came in, and she says, come on outside. So we get outside, and she winds up and hits me in the face. And I remember I thought, well, I'll do it again. And then she started to cry. And I thought, well, I won't do it anymore. That's when I quit being friends with those kids. I don't know why, really. The juvenile delinquents were the best friends that I had. After that, I never had friends that I liked as much as the juvenile delinquents. In adolescence, I never thought about working anywhere. I just thought about drinking. And I never even thought about the idea, well, I'll soon be out of high school, then what am I going to do, really? But once the time came, I decided to go to college. My mother told me, you're wasting your time going to school, you should go work in a factory and make good money. And that made me feel kind of guilty that I just felt that, well, I should just go and make good money. Someone told me about Buick doing a lot of hiring, and I went there and hired in when I was 20. When I first started working at Buick, I had a bad attitude towards working, trying to do as little as possible and no pride in my work. And I would go out and drink beer at lunchtime. I worked cleaning equipment, and so I would take those fixtures apart and clean them and put them back together. And you'd wear thick rubber gloves so you wouldn't get wet. But sometimes the gloves would develop a leak, and all of a sudden you'd feel your hands cold, and you'd know that you had been exposed to a cancer-causing agent. And that might have been why I got cancer. It was always a bad atmosphere there. The people didn't get along. Supervisors didn't get along with the workers. I never really got along with anybody there. I remember one little fight. Some guy, he was bigger than me, and he was He's smart aleck, throwing screws and stuff. And he hit me with a screw, so I picked up a part and hit him in the face with it. And he was scared of me after that. After I worked there a while, I realized that for me, that it was best to have pride in my work, to be a good worker. They wanted me to be a foreman, and I didn't want to do it. The foremen's, their job was to actually mistreat people. They would lie to them, threaten them. I just didn't want no part of that job. I identified more with the workers than the supervisors. I met your mother there. We worked in the same department, and when we first got married, I drank, and she didn't want me to drink, and she was mad about it. So I tried to quit, and I quit. Your mother's mother, she was mean. She had mental problems. She had a nervous breakdown because her marriage was so bad. He was so, he used to get out a gun and threaten to kill all of them. And Marsha would stand between them and keep him from doing it. Because her father favored Marsha. She said things that was far out. She was vulgar talking. I remember she said to me once about Larry, your Uncle Larry. She said, yeah, he didn't want to eat, so I made him eat. And then he threw it up, so I made him eat that. Right from the first, they caused problems in the marriage. I did my best. I did not want to get a divorce. The divorce was harder going through than cancer. I worked at a station, and a line would bring an empty dashboard. He would screw in, a radio, 2 speakers, a heater, and different accessories. You'd be able to do it almost, automatically without thinking. And then we would just work as fast as you could to get done. And then I would read a few minutes until the next dashboard came. And they didn't allow any chairs in the place so that nobody could sit down. They had strict rules like that. They pulled out different times I was there. No sitting down, no reading. I heard that continually. I remember one supervisor said that to me, and I said, fuck you, I'm not quitting. After I got my second divorce, I knew that I bought a house, but I owed a 30-year loan on it, and I knew I needed to retire. I didn't think I'd be able to make house payments and be retired, so I knew to be retired I had to get the house paid off. So I put in for that high overtime job and got it. Generally it was 80 hours. My regular hours were 4 to 4, but sometimes I would work longer. I always worked 7 days, and I would work every day till there would be a day off from some holidays, like Christmas or Thanksgiving. It would be closed down. The first week I had done that, I was able to do it, but by the middle of the second week, I was so tired. It was kind of like I was drunk, staggering and not sure of my driving. But I kept doing it, and it toughened me up. I got so I could do it. I was the only guy at Buick that did it. A lot of people tried it, but I earned more money than any of them. Because they would get sick or, miss work for one reason or another. And I broke 3 ribs, but I never missed a day of work. I went to work anyway. It hurt to breathe, but I worked. I remember one time some big shots from another factory where they make the payrolls. They came to my factory just to see me. They said they wanted to see the person that worked that many hours and made that much money, because it had never been done before. I outworked everybody in Buick. The workers voted, and the supervisors also, and I was voted the best worker. And they gave me a trophy. Then I started changing my ways by trying to eat healthy and exercise. That was when I was still working at Buick. Even when I worked 80 hours, I walked many miles extra. One day, I thought I had the flu, and that night I threw up everything I had in me. And then during the night, I kept waking up every few hours and throwing up. So I went to like a walk-in place where they'll take care of you right away. I told them my symptoms, and they told me to go to the emergency at the hospital. So I went there. When I woke up, I had a lot of morphine in me. And they had chose to have my friend Dennis tell me that I had cancer. And I had so much morphine into me, I just said, well, that's what it was. I said, all right. The first 2 nights were horrible, like with hallucinations, and you go through life and you never realize how much pain or different things you can feel.